Hey everyone, GScotty here. In this series, I try to get an hour of gameplay for every dollar spent on a certain game. So, with that in mind, is Toads of the Bayou worth $1 an hour? Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and let's check it out. Do you ever encounter something that feels eerily tailored just to your tastes? It could be a movie that you find yourself obsessed over while your friends don't seem to care. Maybe it's a book that you find to be a page-turner while everyone around you finds it to be pretty dull. Well, in the world of video games, I think I might have just found my new obsession. Toads of the Bayou is weirdly, almost creepily, a ton of things that I personally love mashed into one game. The obvious, amphibians. I love me some frogs and toads, and having them dressed up in very dapper attire looking all fancy-like? Come on, this is just too perfect. Then there's the very fun references to Southern culture, especially Louisiana culture. I grew up in the South, and seeing such lovely artwork and character design that reflects upon my old stomping grounds is just very fun to see. And then the gameplay is a unique blend of tactical RPGs and deck builder roguelikes, which, 1, reminds me of 2 games that are very near and dear to me, and 2, makes for such a weird and unique genre of games that I personally have never experienced before. Oh, and the pixel art is just lovely. Thought I'd throw that in there. Yeah, this game really grabbed my attention when I first checked it out. But will it be able to keep my attention even after 10 hours of gameplay? Only one way to find out. Let's look and see what's in this game. Toads of the Bayou was developed by LaGrange and released on Steam on November 19th, 2024. Your hometown on the bayou has been ransacked by the evil Baron Samedi, and you must lead a group of resistance fighters to take back what once was yours. This game is ridiculously charming. I just gotta say that right off the bat. Everything from the character design of the frogs you command and the enemies you conquer, to the islands and backgrounds of the bayou itself, the art direction of this game is top-notch and a joy to look at. Look at how handsome this toady boy is, my gosh! The game itself is very fun and addictive, but it did take a little getting used to, if I'm being honest. When I first went into it, I was expecting more of a Fire Emblem kind of gameplay, where your character has a set amount of spaces they can move. It was a little jarring to see that movement was reserved to one of your card actions, and that acting beforehand weakened your movement. However, once I got a feel for everything, I found myself really vibing with the overall gameplay pattern of movement, and found it to be rather enjoyable given some time. If you play roguelikes, you know that replayability is key for the overall experience. With Toads of the Bayou, I found it to be quick and snappy to get back into the action, and a desire to get further and further into a run became tantalizingly palpable. I found myself loading up the game for just one more run quite a few times. The first area of the game was pretty easy. A little too easy, I would say. I was concerned that I would see credits rolling before too long. But then the difficulty ramped up like crazy when I got to the second area. The abrupt jump in difficulty is quite jarring at first, if I'm being honest. But then I started looking at the levels in a different light. I started looking at the first area as more of a resource gathering phase. See, when you defeat a certain number of foes or complete side missions within the level, you get oil and gold, which can be used to get new cards for your deck, hire new toads with special passive abilities, buy fancy traps, etc, etc. I began to see this easier early stage as the time to complete every side mission and claim every reward if possible, all in an attempt to build up my arsenal as much as I could. Later on in the second and third area, completing every side mission can get incredibly difficult. So it's important to get as many resources and build buffs as early on as you can. There's a few other flaws that I found with the game, like sometimes it would say, oh, I've earned this much oil or this much gold, and then I would look at my overall resource and it not really add up to what I just received. I'm not really sure why that is. I don't know if that's a bug or if there's something that I'm just missing, but that is something that kind of confuses me a little bit. So I would say that even though Toads of the Bayou isn't necessarily a flawless game, it is incredibly cozy, very addictive, and the gameplay is fun to get the hang of. If you're a fan of either deck building, roguelikes, tactical RPGs, or small, very handsome good old toads, you're gonna find something to love with this one. It took me a second to get used to the movement mechanic of the game, and I was honestly afraid it was going to hinder the experience. However, after a little bit of time, I got the hang of it, and it ended up being a mechanic that I grew pretty fond of. I got past the first boss without much problem, but I was almost clotheslined by just how much of a difficulty spike the second area was. I died a lot in this area. However, I eventually found myself in the third area, where the enemies were tanky. My Lanta, it took forever to take any of these suckers down. I got close, but I kept failing before I got to the final boss. This is normally the part of the story where we come out triumphant, right? We did everything we could, and the old freaky toad with a split lip got his just desserts, right? Well, maybe if I was an actual gamer. This game gets really, really difficult, and even up until now, I haven't been able to defeat Baron Samedi. Someone take away my gamer card. It's a shame too, when you defeat the Baron, you can unlock other playable characters, which look absolutely fire, like this nun with a frickin' rifle. Sick, right? Well, only time will tell who my favorite playable character is. I can't wait to unlock even more surprises as I finish the game. If I finish the game. I promise I'll get good. Toads of the Bayou is quick, fun to learn, and satisfying to master. It's an absolute roller coaster from start to finish, or game over, whichever one comes first. Each inch of the game is full of detail and love from the creators, and I hope nothing but success from this title and any further titles to come. I love that a game like this exists. Sometimes I get discouraged by the future of gaming because so much of what comes out nowadays will feel really samey or safe, Not the case with Toads of the Bayou. It may have its inspirations, but the very unique and somewhat zany style and gameplay that it promotes is a breath of fresh air in my opinion. Toads of the Bayou is a hit, my friends. I hope you check this one out. You'll have to let me know just how far down the marshy land you go. So, what's the final verdict? Is Toads of the Bayou worth $1 an hour? Yes, and give me DLC. A massive thank you to all of you who are members of the channel, especially the biggest patron of the month, my pal Johnny Appleseed. If you want to support the channel and gain access to cool perks like exclusive videos, Let's Plays, and more, click the join button to learn how. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Bye-bye.